This is News 25 with Deanna O'Donnell and Unette Gentry. News 25, local news you can count on. News is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law. Call 727-9900 today for your free consultation. If you need a lawyer, you need Nelson.
Welcome to News 25. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
And I'm Unette Gentry. It's Tuesday, October 6th. Welcome to News 25.
Well, Shelby cars are planning to attempt a land speed record over the weekend. The Nevada Department of Transportation announces traffic delays along Highway 160 between the Tacoma Turnoff and Sandy Valley roads between 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. That's October 10th and 11th in Clark County. Southbound travel will be diverted onto the northbound lanes, with Nevada Highway Patrol coordinating traffic during the special two-day filming event. Motorists should be prepared for minor travel delays.
And the state of Nevada says last month's rally at Pahrump Valley Winery, which featured Eric Trump, violated coronavirus workplace health and safety measures. And that's now costing the winery thousands of dollars. Brett Francis reports.
On September 24th, Eric Trump made a stop in Pahrump, appearing at a campaign rally and protest at Pahrump Valley Winery. Well, more than 100 people turned out for that event, and now the winery is being levied a fine of $8,500. The Nevada Department of Business and Industry says Pahrump Valley Winery was in violation of established coronavirus health and safety regulations. In a report released Monday, the state says the winery hosted an event, that rally, at which their employees worked and at which the 50-person limit of attendees was exceeded, social distancing among attendees was not maintained, and face coverings were not being worn by all attendees. Last week, Governor Steve Sisolak changed the state's coronavirus health and safety guidelines to allow gatherings of up to 250 people.
Thanks so much, Brad. Well, Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue is investigating the cause of a late-night fire that destroyed a motorhome and damaged nearby property at a home on Paiute Street. Fire Chief Scott Lewis says despite the damage, no one was hurt.
Just before 11 o'clock last evening, we were dispatched for an unknown type fire. As crews were responding, we were notified that the fire was most likely involved a travel trailer, and there was possibility that it had extended to several travel trailers within an RV park. So the assignment was upgraded to a structure, bringing additional resources. Upon arrival, I found what had been a motorhome that was converted to fixed-use residential. The fire had extended beyond that to the personal property stored around it, also to a small utility trailer. We had a utility pole that was smoking, and there were immediate power lines in jeopardy. Crews commenced a defensive exterior attack, quickly knocked down the main body of fire, and protected all the nearby exposures, which included additional unoccupied travel trailers, other personal property, and rubbish. Crews were on location for approximately 2 hours during mop-up. The fire is under investigation. It is not thought to be intentional, but we're trying to determine exactly what may have been the ignition source. There were no injuries.
And after this break, we'll tell you which petroleum corporation is considering more carbon emissions in the midst of this climate change concern. All that and more when News 25 returns.
You're watching News 25, the most recognized and farthest reaching local news in Nye County. News 25, local news you can count on. This segment of the news is brought to you by Silver State Health, bringing quality medical and psychiatric care to Pahrump. Call 775-505-1214 for an appointment.
Welcome back to News 25. Well, a new report claims Exxon Mobil plans to allow a significant rise in carbon emissions. Caterpillar is getting into the oil and gas business, and the U.S. services sector is slowing just a bit. All that and more in your financial news.
Topping our news, a scathing report coming from Bloomberg News reveals ExxonMobil has an internal plan to allow carbon emissions to rise by at least 17% during the next 5 years. Exxon executives insist the emissions projection is an early assessment and does not include additional mitigation. Exxon and other oil giants have struggled during the past year as crude oil prices remain around $40 per barrel and lower. Caterpillar is picking up the oil and gas division of a Scotland-based engineering company. Caterpillar will pay $405 million for Wire Group. It's an all-cash deal. The services sector is slowing just a tad. The U.S. Services Purchasing Managers Index measures jobs in services such as transportation, teaching, or consulting. For September, that index came in at 54.6, down from 55 in August. It's the fourth month of expansion.
Thanks so much, Angela. Well, some sad news in the entertainment industry today. Legendary rock guitarist Eddie Van Halen has died at the age of 65. His son, Wolfgang, made the announcement today that his father had succumbed to cancer. Van Halen was one of the most influential guitarists of his generation, and his band of the same name, one of the most popular rock acts of all time. Musicians worldwide are paying tribute to the rocker, releasing heartbreaking condolences over the shocking loss.
And in local news, an area man was arrested for the second time just days apart and taken to the Nye County Sheriff's Office Detention Center.
On September 6th, sheriff's deputies were dispatched to a burglary. The reporting person stated that she returned home to find her house ransacked. She advised that several handguns had been taken, as well as 3 jewelry boxes full of assorted jewelry and cash. The victim provided photos of some of the unique items that were stolen. One item, a silver bangle bracelet with Hawaiian flowers and her name engraved on it. During the investigation, deputies made contact with Brett Linder under other circumstances. Linder was in possession of 2 handguns and allegedly stated that a friend wanted him to do a burg with him. Linder was asked if he was aware of his status not to be in possession of a gun. Linder was placed into custody for possession of the gun, and the officers began to remove his property from the home. When deputies searched Linder's property, they recovered several of the items reported stolen in the burglary, including the bangle bracelet the burglary victim had described. Linder was transported to NCDC and arrested for burglary while in possession of a gun, grand larceny of a gun, and possession of a gun by a prohibited person. 2 days later, on September 8th, Nye County Sheriff's deputies were dispatched in regards to an attempted murder investigation. The suspect was Brett Linder. He allegedly arrived at a Pahrump residence angry and intent on confronting the reporting person because they allegedly named Linder as a suspect in a fraud investigation. Linder produced and possessed 2 handguns during an argument with the victim. He took 1 round out of one of the handguns and told the complainant, "This one is for you," as he set the round on the counter. The complainant tried to escape the residence in a vehicle. Linder fired 1 round from the handgun as the victim tried to flee. Linder is a convicted felon and is prohibited from possessing firearms. The firearm Linder possessed was stolen. Linder was then arrested for possessing a gun by a prohibited person, attempted murder, discharging a gun at an occupied vehicle, and possessing stolen property.
Well, News 25 was in district court yesterday following 2 cases taking place here in Nye County. Missy Kohler has your court report.
Eric Garcia appeared in court yesterday via television from Nye County Detention Center in Pahrump. Garcia had pled guilty to the charges against him in one of the town's most heinous cases involving child sexual assault. The defense was not ready to move forward with sentencing yesterday as had been planned. Garcia's attorney, Brent Percival, said that because of the plea deal that had been accepted, Garcia would be eligible for parole on the 1 count of using a child to produce pornography and would need a psychosexual evaluation prior to sentencing. The other count against him is lewdness with a child under the age of 14, and these charges bring sentences of 10 years to life. The district attorney plans to ask them to run consecutively. Garcia has already cooperated with investigators against 3 other individuals involved in his case: Mickey Cagle, Danny Hicks, and Vicky Bockley. The search warrant revealed crimes ranging from sexual assault and lewdness with a minor under the age of 14 to acts of bestiality. Garcia's sentencing has been moved to November 2nd at 9 a.m. Cagle, Hicks, and Bockley were arraigned on September 21st on 24 total charges. Attorneys are still determining if the 3 will be tried together or their trials will be severed. Their trials will take place sometime in 2021. Cole Ingleson, who is charged with the death of 3-year-old Yesenia Camp, was in district court yesterday to set a place and time for trial. Ingleson has pled not guilty to the murder of Camp, who is the daughter of his girlfriend. The crime occurred at a home on Mance Road on July 15, 2017. Ingleson faces charges of domestic violence, child abuse with substantial bodily harm resulting in death, and open murder. In the cases in the 2019, Ingleson made the claim of ineffective counsel regarding his attorney, Brent Percival, and demanded a new attorney. Per court documents, he also had filed a lawsuit against Percival. Judge Lane denied Ingleson's request and ruled that Percival would remain Ingleson's attorney. The defendant also rejected any and all plea negotiations made by the state. Judge Robert Lane set jury selection for November 4th at the Board of Commissioners Chambers. I'm Missy Kohler, and that has been your court report.
Thanks so much, Missy. And when we return, we'll tell you how you can make your classroom home setup even more comfortable for your home students and you. All that and more. News 25 will be right back.
You're watching News 25, brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500. News 25, local news you can count on.
Welcome back. Well, the craft fair season kicks off on October 17th with an event comprised of lots of local vendors. And although spaces were reserved quickly, there's still room for you to participate.
October 17th, we are having a handmade craft sale. We've got currently about 31 vendors, one food truck. We have inside spaces, outside spaces, mostly just so that the community can still come out and participate and have fun shopping for maybe some Halloween, Thanksgiving, or Christmas items.
Fantastic. And so we're at this really great venue, which, of course, like you said, has indoor and outdoor. Where are we located?
This is 1270 West Charleston Park.
All right, and so handmade items, there's, of course, going to be all this different holiday themed stuff. All
Correct.
Locals?
All locals currently. That's really what we went for. We wanted to be able to help the community out, especially since so many things have been canceled. So it has to be handmade. We've got quilts, we've got ornaments, all sorts of different unique items that should be here.
All right, and then you have any open spaces left right now at this point?
Currently we do. We do have 3 open outside spaces. You would need a pop-up tent for it, but we do currently have 3 spaces left.
And how much is it for a rental for this?
$15.
And so people can give you a call. How do they get in touch with you?
Yes, you can contact us. Actually, my mother, Janice, and her number is 702-789-8440.
All right. And what's the time of the craft fair?
It's going to be October 17th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
It's an event that you can, of course, spend a few hours here and even have lunch.
Absolutely, yes. We are, like I said, going to have a food truck here so people can come through, meander through, stop and have some lunch, maybe meander back through. We are taking all the precautions in regards to the COVID. We have spoken with the town. There will be hand sanitizing. We'll have masks. They are required while you're here on the property for vendor and the public safety.
Well, many kids are continuing to learn from their classroom at homes, and there's a way to make a more comfortable setup.
So in a little tiny person, we think, oh, they're made of rubber. They're okay. We can throw them in these chairs. They can slouch. They can do these things. They're young. They can deal with it. When in fact, this is the most important time of their lives to be truly aware of keeping that structural bioflow in check.
Chad Adams is a chiropractor with Cleveland Clinic. He says bad posture can have negative long-term effects for a child. So what can parents do to help avoid it? He says if your child has to sit in an adult chair, add some pillows and a footstool so they're not hunched over with their feet dangling. He says the computer monitor should be at eye level and their arms at a 90-degree angle when using a keyboard. If they're using a laptop, he recommends getting an external keyboard, which can help keep wrists and elbows in the right position. They should also be taking little breaks to stretch throughout the day.
Rather than just looking side to side, well, now I'm going to draw big circles. As big a circles as I can with my neck, and as big a circles as I can with my arms and my wrists and my knees and my fingers. And I'm going to try to include every single part of me. And you can do that you absolutely can do that in as little as 30 seconds.
He says you should also be paying attention to your child's behavior. Most times they'll tell you if they're uncomfortable, but if they're slouching a lot or shifting around, that's probably a sign they need more support from their chair.
In more local news, the Pahrump Moose Lodge number 808 will host a free flu shot clinic on Saturday. And News 25 spoke with Jim Cornell, Moose Community Service Chairman, to find out the details.
We are going to have October 17th, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, a flu shot from CVS Pharmacy and they've asked if we could use the room here at our facility, and we are going to work with them, and hopefully it'll be a great event. It'll be open to the public, and of course our membership and everything.
So are they free?
Yes.
Fantastic. So what time was that?
At 1 o'clock in the afternoon until whenever.
Whenever they're done.
Yeah.
Where's the Moose Lodge located?
And Moose Lodge is at 1100 2nd Street. It's right down the corner of Center and 2nd.
Should anybody be prepared to bring anything for the flu shots, or beforehand, or is there an age range? Or?
They probably would bring their ID and insurance if they have it.
And then is there an age group or everybody?
Anybody.
All right. Thank you so much.
And they're supposed to have the flu shot that's required for 65 and older.
News 25 Weather Cam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
All right, John Kohler was working at the BOCC meeting, and so we're going to take you outside for a look at our current conditions. It was a beautiful day today, and temperatures are falling. We'll take a closer look at your weather right after this break.
News 25 Weather is brought to you by Dairy Council of Nevada. The splash of cream in your coffee, the dollop of sour cream on your burrito, the melted toasty cheese on your pizza. Undeniably delicious, undeniably dairy. Enjoy what's real.
Hi, good evening, Nevada. It's John Kohler from the KPVM Channel 25 Weather Studios, and this is your awesome weather report for a Tuesday. Wow, look at it in Fernley. Everything's cooling off up and down the state. 85 degrees is as hot as it'll get up there in Fernley today. 46 for a low. That's kind of like mountain temperatures. How about that? Fallon, 85 degrees, 43 for a low out in Carson City. Also about 86 and 40 for a low. In Tonopah, all right, heating up a little bit as we head down south. 43 is the low in Tonopah. It's warming up a little bit, although the high only got to 83. Goldfield saw 85 today for a high, 43 for a low. And Beatty, 93 degrees was your high today, 53 for a low. And out in Amargosa, 96 degrees. You're starting to feel it, aren't you? Yeah, it's starting to feel like winter a little bit in Amargosa. It's 57 for a low tonight. In Las Vegas, 97 degrees is as much as they're going to sweat today. 64 degrees for a low tonight. And out in Death Valley, 105 degrees. It was as hot as it was going to get. And that's 69 for a low. It's going to feel cool tonight. Here locally in Pahrump, well, it's 93 degrees currently. Just off the mark of 96 for our high today. Winds out of the west-southwest, 5 miles an hour. We're not exactly choking on smoke, but kind of smoky, a little smoky-dokey out there, folks. And real dry, humidity at 5%. Sunrise this morning at 6:43 a.m. It will set this evening at 6:19 p.m. A few more minutes of night to enjoy. A low tonight, 59 degrees, east clearly winds 5 mile an hour. That might clear up some of that smoke. That'll feel good. Humidity still bone dry at 11%. Oh, let's say bisque dry. It's that dry. But coming up, hey, look at this. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We're cruising into the weekend, and it looks like it's going to cool off a little bit on the weekend. Be nice. Maybe a good weekend to get out camping. Although the winds are going to kick up Saturday and Sunday from our typical 8-9 mile an hour winds here these next few days to 12-15 mile an hour. That could send some umbrellas toppling across the yard, don't you think? Let's see. Sticking to the low 90s for our highs the next few days, and then down to like 79 for Saturday, Sunday. It's going to cool off a bit. You might need a little sweatshirt. Lows reliably in the mid-50s, and that'll be how that will be. So let's look forward to that. That's your weather report from the KPM 25 studio. I'm John Kohler. Good night.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up this edition of News 25. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
And I'm Unette Gentry, and from all of us here at KPVM and Ace Country Radio, thanks so much for joining us tonight, and we will see you again next newscast.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.